So, you know how I always say basic lands are good? I'm mentioning this for no particular reason whatsoever. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today's donation deck list comes to us from Hazel, who has asked us to play a Beans deck, but it's a Frog Beans deck, and not of the Psychic Frog variety. So we have tried to make Glarb work a couple of times on this channel, and I feel like we've kind of fallen into the close but no cigar situation with Glarb, where we have built around Glarb very hard, and then our deck falls short when we don't have Glarb. Or alternatively, something else like the One Ring carries the wins that we do get. Whereas this is a deck that has a Glarb in it and can get some value out of Glarb, but has very real ways to win outside of just Glarb. Now, this is what originally was sent to me here, is a Yorion Glarb deck list, but it is not complete. It needs some tuning, and I've already done that, but I just want to talk about a couple of things first. So the core idea is that you are playing 6 Up the Beanstalks, where Glarb functions as the additional copies of Up the Beanstalk. It's a little different in that, this one cantrips immediately, whereas this one is much more situational with the card, having to be on top of your library. But it is very much serving the same role. Now, my biggest complaint about this deck is that it is trying to do too much. So it is trying to use Delighted Halfling to ramp towards cards. It is trying to use Metamorphosis Fanatic to ramp 2 cards. It is trying to get it's super cute with Thwart as an additional Force of Will effect that can allow you to bounce your Mystic Sanctuary to get it back and do all sorts of cool things. I think just trying to be a 5-color Up the Beanstalk deck list is enough already. I think some stuff has to give somewhere. So when I look at this, I see a Delighted Halfling deck that maybe can't effectively use the second thing. You don't have all that many legendary creatures. You have your Uros, you have your Glarbs. And while playing Glarb on turn 2 is really cool, I don't think you need Delighted Halfling in this deck, especially if you are trying to just regularly sweep the board with things like Wrath of the Skies. So I think Delighted Halfling was an easy cut. I think Metamorphosis Fanatic is really cool in a deck like this one. 4 lifelink is a lot, and if you bring something else with this is a very meaningful contribution. But I think you need to add more creatures to the deck if you want to be a Metamorphosis Fanatic deck. Now, I think this is conceptually quite good, but it needs a little bit more support here. I also think that Spellseeker with Ephemerate is super, super cool to tutor up exactly what you need, but I think you need to cut some stuff around the edges here to go and make it so that you have enough slots to support the plans that are in your deck that are already good. And that might mean also just cutting a couple of generically good cards in order to support this. I also don't think that Force of Will is enough versus current combo deck lists. I think I want to be playing Force of Negation as well in the place of Counterspell. Counterspell is a perfectly fine card, but it's a little slow, and Legacy right now, it's very, very fast. I know I've said that a lot in recent videos because I've recorded 3 deck techs in this sitting. I was just recording them all while I was brewing, in case you're wondering why I'm wearing the same shirt for a week in a row on videos. Don't worry, I'll be wearing different shirts for the rest of these videos. So this is what I came up with for my updated version. So number 1, to support Metamorphosis Fanatic a little bit better, I have added another early game card into the deck. I have added Orcish Bowmasters. This is just generically good versus combo decks that are relying on things like the One Ring. It's generically good versus cantrips. It can be more small removal for creature decks like Delver. Maybe we get to pick off a Delver or a DRC before they transform. And it's also just a couple of turns worth of chump blockers. I have also added in 2 copies of Troll of Khazad Doom. Since I took Delighted Halfling out of the deck, that means that I removed some mana sources. So between the Trolls and the Lorien Revealed, I don't think we will have too much trouble hitting our land drops. I also think a Life from the Loam or 2 would fully be worth considering in a deck list that looks like this one. I decreased the number of basic lands in the deck list. I have kept the Bant basic lands in here, but I have trimmed, I think, 2 basic lands and a couple of other things to just fit in a few more dual lands of various natures, partially because I want a few more swamps in the deck list to support Orcish Bowmasters and Troll of Khazad Doom entering into the deck list. So versus combo, we have Force of Negations and Force of Will in game 1. Versus fair decks, we have Binding, Solitude, Murderous Cut, Wrath of the Skies, Bowmaster, Swords, and Prismatic Ending, Metamorphosis Fanatic. Hopefully this results in a balanced-ish deck list, but we'll see. I am 100% sure that within a round or 2, I will figure out everything that is wrong with the mana base. I adjusted the mana base that was sent to me. I did not run numbers on it or anything. There's definitely issues. We'll figure it out while we're playing. As far as the sideboard goes, heavily targeted towards combo, again, because I think that's what Legacy is about right now. I haven't gone like full 15 for combo. I have dedicated 2 slots to some large death-touchy, life-linky friends. It is probably very easy for us to have 4, 5, and larger versions of this relatively quickly. I just wanted some extra lifelink versus decks like Delver, because we are going to get paired into that sort of stuff. And when we do, like, we can play these while maybe also ghost vacuuming some stuff out of our opponent's graveyard. Otherwise, we are looking to up our redundancy, and I think things like Flusterstorm and Consign to Memory are probably where you want to be at. We have some Null Rods for Artifact combo, we have Deafening Silence for spell-based combo. So we're definitely in, like, first draft stage of this deck, but conceptually, I don't hate what's going on here, and we'll just kind of see how clunky the mana ends up being in practice. We are a deck that wants blue, blue, green, green, white, white, black, black. So, you know, there's a lot going on. Oh, also, like, blue, blue, because we are going to want to hardcast these sometimes. So, like, we are asking a lot out of this mana base. With that being said here, let's go ahead and hop into a league. Folks, if you end up needing some cards, please check out my sponsor, TOAmagic.com. Tales of Adventure is an awesome store run by some good folks. If you go to one of the in-person events, one of the big ones that's coming up, you can definitely find them. Look for the purple banner. They tend to have a really cool display case with a bunch of like HP and damage cards that they don't sell on their website traditionally, but if you're looking to scoop up some good deals, that's a great way to do it. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your online orders as well, and you always get free shipping with those. With that being said, let's battle. Bill from the future here. If you're on a limited time budget, I think rounds 4 and 5 are probably the most intricate and interesting rounds. Enjoy the show. Termagerd, it's a Termagurf. Alright, with that being said, I guess we keep Devourer of Destiny. So, Prismatic Ending, probably not great here. Ancient Tomb, hit that heralds the end. Prismatic Ending, back online. I need a black, red, green land. That this? No. That this? No. Okay, so I can't get everything. I can figure it out later. Okay, counterspell's off. I think I am not using Solitude on it that heralds the end. I want to Prismatic Ending that because I'm probably not going to have all that many targets for that. Fantastic. So if I get the garden, that gives me red and green, and I'll just need black. Yeah, so this plus Underground Sea. Yes, everybody. I do not need to Underground Sea immediately, though. I won't. Prismatic Ending. Lotus Petal is fine. I don't think I'm going to Force of Negation that. Wasteland is less fine. I'm very sad about Wasteland happening. Because that makes this a lot worse. Don't you fucking do it. I intuitively understand why no one wants to play control decks anymore. Like, we're dead. We will never financially recover from this. Like, I might get forced to Solitude a Sowing Mycospawn instead of the worst thing that comes later. I'm gonna take 3 in an attempt to not lose Leyline Binding and Solitude to the same card. Alright. So now, I think I have to do this. We'll take out the Thought-Knot Seer so that I draw a card. Opponent can't take that one, which is, I guess, good. Basic Plains does not cast Glarb. Oh fuck, I should have cycled Lorien Revealed in response there. Yeah. So we'll fetch. We have a Grixis land. I'll take Grixis land plus white. Okay, nice, nice. I mean, we have other problems coming. God damn it. Yeah. Towards you. This is rough. I never beat that long term. The next turn, my opponent just has Devourer of Destiny. Cool. Alright. If I wasn't an idiot, I could have one more land drop here. But it still doesn't get me to Glarb. All it does is put Yorion into hand, which does not actually accomplish anything. I think I'm gonna respectfully tap out. How the fuck do I beat this? I mean, this is a start. 4 of these, 2 of these as lifelinkers. Bowmasters is probably not overly exciting here. Force of Negation is also not very exciting, though. Let's turn Force of Negations into Consign to Memories. Let's turn 2 Bowmasters into Goyfs. But holy shit, this feels awful. No? Feels like no. Whereas this seems fine. It's like actually not a very good brainstorm. I think I'm going to get rid of that. Ancient Tomb. I mean, this is not really what I wanted to use this card for, but I think I will take that one for 1 exchange. Alright, so I want blue, green, maybe? Pair with Scrubland. Then Troll can pick up a black source. Or Troll should be able to cycle and get me something with red, I imagine. I built my deck well. If red. So Grixis land into play. Leyline Binding is 1 mana. We can work towards hard casting a Solitude over the next couple of turns. Glaring Fleshraker. You've got it. Brainstorm? I have to brainstorm first if I want to use it and also cast Leyline Binding. So I guess I am casting this. Not super interested in Bowmaster, and 1 land of some kind can go back here. Let's fetch a white source. I guess I want to work towards multiple green towards Uro. Savannah makes sense. We'll just Leyline Binding that. The other thing I can do there is just get like Tundra so that I could fetch for Mystic Sanctuary, but the stuff that I have to bring back is mid right now. Alright, counterspells, no go. Alright, we're just chilling, so that means potentially something like Kozilek's Command can happen. I'm not going to cycle you immediately. Let's ponder. And just take another ponder. Kind of whatever. I think I will... I'd kind of like to hardcast this. Let's fetch and clear. Maybe even surveil prior to the ponder. Yeah. Let's do that. Glarb. Is that fine? I'll say no. That's not immediately playable. Okay, with these here, I really like the idea of the Up the Beanstalk. Am I fine? Force of Willing a Kozilek's Command? Yes. So let's intend on Force of Willing, Kozilek's Command, and then play Beans, have Solitude for Beans. And Cavernous Souls only works on creature spells here, so let's stop that. My opponent has a bunch of cards here. God damn it. God damn it. How do I ever beat this fucking thing? So, like, I lose a land to this, and then a second one off Wasteland, and then I'm going to lose a third one to this. Holy shit. Good God. So, like, I can Up the Beanstalk, draw a card, Solitude Sowing Mycospawn, draw another card. I guess I should have done that immediately for Wasteland purposes. I'm going to take 3 to see if I can get a better creature than Sowing Mycospawn with these Solitudes. Okay. Doesn't produce mana immediately. God damn it. Nope. Just absolutely not. We're done. I never want to play that matchup again. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and honestly, they're just the best at what they do. If you need to keep your deck lists online, this is the way to do it. They have all sorts of different viewing options. You can condense that text if you like things to be tight. You can make them visual grids. You can put them in stacks. You've got all sorts of different ways to kind of view and visualize your deck lists. And they also have some really cool functionality, like allowing you to see playtest hands and even fully playtest your decks. So check them out. Alrighty. Opening hand has a source of card advantage. It has a couple of pieces of early interaction and some ways to hit additional land drops. I think we're good here. City of Traders is fine. We are really bad against Blood Moon. Chalice of the Void is not really a problem. I can Prismatic Ending that away at some point, assuming I don't just get Blood Mooned. And we'll just make a land drop and pass. Assuming we Prismatic Ending the Chalice, the extra Brainstorm is not actually that bad of a draw. Just slow. Yep. That is occurring. Alright, so opponent is playing a Chalice on 0 specifically to throw it with Broadside, which is fine. Guttle Goat and their wife say hello. And... oh, it looks like they're actually probably going to keep the Chalice in play. Until I cycle this Yorion Revealed, at which point I think they should just throw the Chalice at me. Now I have to figure out what land I'm getting. It needs white and probably untapped white. I have green already. Probably just means Tundra. Okay, they are not just going to throw Chalice at me there. Bowmaster is not successfully killing this right now with an active Chalice to throw. I might just play Beans here. I think it is important to get a little deeper into my deck. And if I find Force of Will off the Bean draw trigger, or I find Solitude off the Bean draw trigger, there's so much upside. Well, GG. Yep. We are not beating the things that hate on basic lands, or non-basic lands with this deck. Holy shit. Okay, I will probably play Consign to Memory. I'm definitely playing this. Force of Negation answers Blood Moon. Bowmasters is good versus the One Ring, is otherwise pretty mid. Glarb feels hard to cast here when I need to prioritize white and blue. And getting towards Uro is also important. I think I'm going to cut Glarb here. Glarb becomes these. And I conceptually want Consign to Memory, but at this point I'm having trouble figuring out what I would cut. A lot of times conceptually versus creature decks, you don't want to be a Force of Will deck and a Source of Plowshares deck at the same time. But I'm just so incredibly dead to Blood Moon effects that I might need to just like keep both of these. And I want to keep enough win conditions so that I can actually stabilize if we get to the end game. So I don't think I'm going down on this stuff. I think I am submitting as is. I guess fully dead to Magus of the Moon, but okay versus Blood Moon. So I think I do not ponder on turn 1 so that I have Force of Negation available 100% of the time. I think if we see... never mind, it's not going to happen. Yeah, so that just resolves. I will Prismatic Ending that for 2 mana. I don't even Prismatic Ending that immediately. I play Up the Beanstalk. Just want to get this card advantage going, get 2 Force of Wills and such as quickly as possible. I have Bant... and this can get me red-black at the same time. God damn it. Yeah. I'm just fucking dead. I have 1 basic planes that I can draw to get out of that. And I drew this off of the Up the Beanstalk, so I could not have used it on my turn. Fucking brutal. Yeah. So, don't play 5-color control. Spirit Guide. That sure doesn't eat a Force of Negation. Yep. Do we concede now, or this is 5 damage, and then 5+1 damage every turn from here? Okay. We can stop panicking. So we, I think, junk the Yorion. The Solitude, junking Yorion, draw a card off Up the Beanstalk. Murderous Cut isn't good yet, but can become good in a minute. We take out Magus. All this shit's back on now. Leyline Binding draws a card. I will use that here. This fetches Grixis tapped. Get me all my colors to make binding cost 1. So I can go ahead and Prismatic Ending Chalice of the Void at the same time, even though it's not doing a ton immediately. Alright. Panic over. Beginning of combat. Fetch. Grixis. Leyline Binding. And we're good against probably everything except a second Magus of the Moon. Babel will eat Force of Negation. I'm fine 2 for 1ing myself here when I have Up the Beanstalk and 2 things that are going to draw off of it. Sure. I probably don't want 2 Bowmasters. I think I'm going to put 1 on top of my deck and then surveil it into my graveyard. And I can pass turn with 2 removal spells that cantrip available. That is fine. This feels like it's going to be the One Ring. It's nothing. Suspicious. What does that indicate? I am not actually sure. We'll drop our land drop, crash in for 2, and hold up these removal spells. I don't think I want to Leyline Binding Chrome Mox. Maybe my opponent is trying to bait me into doing that. Oh wow, my opponent's already at 10 from Ancient Tomb damage. 5? Okay. You may kill my creatures. I will just end of turn, full 5 mana, Murderous Cut the Fury. I'm just not going to touch the cards in my graveyard because I have things like Uro and Mystic Sanctuary that care about them. Nice. So this is why you would want to play this deck. Do I want a Mystic Sanctuary something to the top of my library first? Nah. Draw 4. Alright, there's Force of Will. No blue card to pair with it, but this seems fine. If my opponent doesn't do anything, I can Mystic Sanctuary, Yorion Revealed back to the top of my deck. Yeah, sure. I will answer that at some point. Mystic Sanctuary, Yorion Revealed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could play Up the Beanstalk first. Sure. I can start getting some basics at this point, actually, to just hedge against Magus happening. So, Beans. Oh, Uro is great. Oh, I don't have green mana available. Oops. We're probably okay. Draw 5. And at this point, we're totally fine discarding some cards. I will get rid of a land. I will get rid of an Orcish Bowmasters. I want this land specifically so that I can get my other green mana. Yeah, no, that's probably an okay time to tap out. Oh, Blood Moon's scary. Magus of the Moon is scarier. Okay, I mean, I have a Force of Will here, which probably means that I just keep my hand just about no matter what. I have Brainstorm to set up Metamorphosis Fanatic as this game goes on a little bit further. City, you may have your Chrome Mox. My Force of Will just needs to hit very important targets. That's a Magus under there. That almost certainly means another one is coming. Magus is one of the things that I would probably value as one of the best cards in the matchup. And my opponent played Fable instead. Do I counter that? This is weird to me. If I counter this, sometimes I win the game on my spot because my opponent has so few cards left. And like sometimes this is stopping them from deploying a One Ring, and this mana matters a lot. And sometimes I just lose to a follow-up Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon. I think I'm going to counter it, getting rid of Ponder, put Xander's Lounge into play, and try to set up a relatively quick Metamorphosis Fanatic. There's not a basic swamp in this deck. I'm going to go to the Xander's Lounge. Yep, that's fine. Lol. I get there if I brainstorm. I will land drop and pass. Broadside's bad. It's not innately that much damage on its own, but it means as soon as my opponent gets something else like the One Ring or Fury, that stuff becomes problematic. I don't have green yet, or if I end up getting this Blood Moon out of play somehow. I don't think my deck should have a basic swamp in it, but it sure would be insane right now. Metamorphosis Fanatic for Troll just happens if I have a basic swamp in the deck list. I will take 2. Alright, no follow-up play. Okay. Nice. So this gets me a basic island. Brainstorm is castable. Not necessarily good, but castable. Okay, so that means my opponent has drawn the One Ring, which I will Force of Negation. Oh shit, it's Pyroglyph instead. That's a lot of damage. Let's see if I can hit Force of Will here. I do. Doesn't super matter what I put back. The Force of Will, junking a Force of Negation. I will take 2 in combat. So I'm at 12. I know my next draw is also a dead draw, because I'm going to draw an Orcish Bowmasters that I can't cast. I would really like to not Force of Negation. If I Force of Negation, then I can't top deck Solitude to clear this. Alright. You have forced my hand. I will take 2. I'm at 10. So from here on out, my draws are live again. I am at 8. This is probably about the point where my opponent should be thinking about throwing Chrome Moxen at my face. Just maximize the damage output of this card. That is not castable. I am not sure if I am realistically on outs anymore. That is lethal. GG's. So we can play this game differently. We can let Fable resolve, then we get to junk this Blood Moon with our initial counterspell. It's just a question of like how much damage, air quotes, damage does the Fable of the Mirror Breaker do to the game in that time. Like if I set up Metamorphosis Fanatic for Troll, I'm in pretty good shape based on the cards that my opponent did end up drawing. But like they would be deeper into their deck and the game would have gone differently. GG's. Alright, we have been paired against another Yorion deck of some kind. And we'll see what they're doing. Basic Forest main phase. You've got it. I think I'll just hedge maze here. Yeah, Uro can go to graveyard, that's fine. Forest, Plains. Okay, this is where I thought that was going. So the targeted removal, not great here. Bowmasters is very good, but I can't deploy Bowmasters this turn. So we are probably going to ponder and shuffle with Lorien revealed. With 3-4 lands in hand already, I think I just shuffle that. Lol. Now maybe I can hold this for later in the game. This can, like, get me my Grixis land. Land drop 3. Sithis I can remove pretty easily. But, gonna get some decent value in the meantime. We will fetch... Is this better than the Grixis one? So this gives me red-white. Or this gives me black-red. I think I want the black-red right now. Because, like, Bowmasters and Murderous Cut matter. Leyline Binding. So I have Grixis plus green plus white. Fantastic. So Leyline Binding and Sithis are... Sorry, and Bowmasters are both fair game. I think I will just Leyline Binding Sithis immediately. There is some desire to, like, let my opponent draw a card with Sithis and then just kill Sithis with Bowmaster triggers. But I don't really want to give my opponent extra cards. I don't know exactly how this matchup is going to play out, but historically, the Enchantress decks tend to prey on the blue decks that are built like mine. I'm not sure how the current, like, Prismatic Ending, Leyline Binding decks that can have more answers to enchantments, I'm not sure how that changes the equation. Like, my Bowmaster might not last all that long. Ooh, my opponent is a Rest in Peace Helm version. Understood. So much for my Uro. Miri's Guile. Opponent will go to 16. There are potentially things like Elephant Grass or Chain to the Rocks. Oh, holy fuck. No. Do I die now? I can die right now. Turn 4 Goldfish is really good for Enchantress. Okay, it's Sanctum Weaver. I will ping you. And then we start getting into territory where I need to think about pinging this. Raider. Oh, God. Yeah, no, that is absolutely happening. Okay, so now I don't get to ping Sanctum Weaver and kill it, because Sanctum Weaver is an enchantment creature and thus has Shroud. Yeah, that's not great for me. That is not great for me. That land drop, not what I'm looking for. Cool. Send in for what is probably 6 damage. Yeah. Oh, sure. I am happy with that result, but I'm also very scared that that just means that I'm dying pretty much immediately. So let's surveil land here, because putting a Yorion in the hand for Solitude doesn't matter. That land surely does not matter. Alright, I feel dead. I'm just gonna F6 my opponent's turn. They've got it, they've got it. Oblivion Ring. Okay, sure, so you can take out my Leyline Binding. Oh, you're gonna take out my Bowmasters instead. Sure, that's fine. A new Enchantress. Alright, game plan is draw Wrath of the Skies. Wrath of the Skies for X equals 3 wipes everything that my opponent has access to. Phyrexian Unlife as well. That can combo with Solemnity. So my opponent now has Sterling Grove that can tutor for Solemnity if my opponent wants to put that into play. Opponent's got some spicy ones, like Miri's Guile, Greater Oromancy, Phyrexian Unlife, presumably Solemnity. Dovescape. Okay, you are just playing all the old classics. So whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, counter that spell. That player creates a bunch of birds. So now my spells don't get to... Well, my non-creature spells don't get to resolve anymore, and I just get birds instead. My opponent has their own Yorion as well. But now I don't get to Wrath of the Skies my way out of this. So I believe that this is probably the point of the game where it is correct to just concede. However, I still have a 6/6 in play that my opponent hasn't dealt with. My opponent, effectively has 10 more life right now. But this is not all that scary. My opponent's enchantment creatures will have Shroud, but not their regular creatures. So I can still resolve creature spells. The opponent is Upkeep Sterling Groving, going for Destiny Spinner. Destiny Spinner should kill me. So this is an enchantment creature, meaning that it has Shroud. Oh, my opponent didn't tap this optimally, so if they do this and this to tap for that, they can animate a couple of different lands and probably kill me immediately. But they just kill me not immediately as well, so I'm not sure that it really matters. Oh god, my opponent's spells can't be countered, so it's even better now that they have Destiny Spinner. So they get the birds and their thing. Yeah. I will just take an ETB tapped land out of my deck. Still has Shroud. I think now I'm good. Yeah, draw Wrath of the Skies is definitely the plan. We're good with Deafening Silence. I'm not sure that I want to Null Rod specifically for Helm of Obedience. They have, I don't know, 2-ish copies of that probably in their Yorion deck. I don't know that that's worth addressing specifically. I probably board out Metamorphosis Fanatic versus Rest in Peace and turn that into Deafening Silence. I might just play another dude with... No, Rest in Peace. I'll finish the thought. I might just play another dude with Power and Toughness is kind of what I was thinking, but Rest in Peace in multiples is punching some small holes in things that I would like to be doing. This has Wrath of the Skies, and accordingly, I think I keep it. I have needs. I absolutely have needs here. So just about any land gets me to Glarb. A green land gets me to Up the Beanstalk. This first Brainstorm matters a lot. Like, this is... Oh. Yep. You can have that. I don't think it is worth Force of Willing that when I have Prismatic Ending. Okay, cool. I think I'm going to get rid of Glarb, and whatever else I put back, I just end up redrawing. I want Up the Beanstalk in play as quickly as possible. However, Carpet of Flowers is a really good Magic card, and I don't think I want to wait to Wrath of the Skies that. There is a little bit of tension between playing out Up the Beanstalk and wanting to cast Wrath of the Skies for at least X equals 2. That's fine. I will get that later. Let's pick up some extra colors. So I have Esper. I want green, red, which is this. And then this just needs to get me my other white. Assume Brainstorm is fine. These are good cards. I don't even think I'm going to shuffle anything away here. I think I'm just going to go bam, bam, bam. I'm going to play this now so that I can cantrip off Force of Will if I feel the need to Force of Will. And like this replaces itself, so if I destroy it with Wrath of the Skies, I don't view that as the end of the world. That's fine. Yeah, I don't even think I play Wrath of the Skies this turn. I think I will Ponder and then Uro. More beans? I also don't hate the extra land drop. I think I will take more beans. I could also just like play the beans and not be working towards Wrath of the Skies immediately. I want green, so I want a green-white land. I think I'm just going to Uro here. Immediate swords. I mean, there's very little reason not to do this, because I draw a card off of this. Deafening Silence. Sure. Yeah, I'll put Mystic Sanctuary onto the battlefield. So now I can work towards Wrath of the Skies, nuke the board, drop Deafening Silence. If I get a third white, that's fine. Phyrexian Unlife, sure. So the Enchantress's Presence replaces itself, but then I can take 4 cards with Wrath of the Skies. That seems fine. This is also just another white mana. I am good with this. Just want a white here. So Wrath of the Skies for X equals 3. That's enough to draw a card here. Opponent can crack Sterling Grove if they would like to tutor. Taiga. There might be some red elemental blasts over there. Oh shit. Blood Moon. That's a problem. Could have gotten basic planes. And I thought to myself, they're not playing anything like Blood Moon. Fucking wrong. I can't play this land. I now just am likely to lose to Blood Moon. I have no castables. Frustrating. Yep. I need to draw my one of basic planes in 59 cards. Cycle. Not castable. Rough. I don't think I am supposed to play around Blood Moon before I have seen Taiga. But it just sucks. Like, opponent only has so many flex slots in their Phyrexian Unlife, Dovescape, Solemnity deck. We are doing a lot of draw go. So there is an out to the Blood Moon, assuming that I get basic planes. The Deafening Silence alone should make the game go slowly. But, you know, drawing a Lorien Revealed would also just turn on generic cantrips, which would be nice. I would prefer not to pitch cast a Solitude. Getting rid of this Leyline Binding is a pretty big blow. Yep. I'm going to always yield to Miri's Guile, and I'm not going to narrate this happening every turn. Opponent gets their Sensei's Divining Top activation. Alright, that is Shroud, so that doesn't get answered by my shit. Well, that is an amazing card that I cannot cast reasonably. So now opponent will just draw 1 card per turn. Notably, this is non-creature, so it is possible for my opponent to multi-spell. Glarb, not very castable. Something big is happening. Yeah, that's fine. That I can just Solitude. Dryad Arbor can start attacking me for 1. I will probably cast Solitude on my own turn on the Yorion. We're going to get rid of the not castable Wrath of the Skies here, I think. I don't know, the upside on this card is pretty high if I do ever draw basic planes and get to Leyline Binding Blood Moon. Maybe we will keep it. We're on a 19 turn clock. Sure. I'm going to take 1 more draw and then concede. Actually, my opponent probably just gets Dovescape immediately, and then I don't have realistic outs. Alright. So, is this round 3 or round 4? We absolutely cannot beat non-basic land. 8 is what I'm feeling with this deck. Wasteland is incredible. Blood Moon is incredible. And I'm not sure that we can squeeze more basics into the deck list, because I am trying to do blue, blue, green, green, bug, black, black, white, white, blue, blue. There's some serious strain here. Alright. Opening hand is okay. I might need to brainstorm on turn 1 to kind of smooth out the hand. I think this hand goes a lot better if I fire off Up the Beanstalk on turn 2. Now I can Prismatic Ending Tamiyo immediately. I still think I'm going to brainstorm here. Edge Maze. I can get rid of one of these cards if there is one of these cards that I don't particularly like. Kind of want to get rid of Force of Will. I think I am going to do that. Oh wait, I'm not going to get rid of that because I can't Surveil. I want to get rid of Tamiyo. Alright, so the Orcish Bowmaster should be on top of my library right now, so I can have Force of Will back up. If this resolves, though, and I can just use this turn to ponder and get rid of the Force of Will, that's quite good for me. All right, do I want additional land drops? I want the black mana. I don't want Force of Will. Yeah, I think I'm good with these. And we can adjust things a little bit. The basic island not contributing 2 card types to Leyline Binding is a little rough. And like, I can't Bowmaster while hedge mazing, for example. That feels awful. We are 4 for 4 on decks that can hate on non-basic lands. I want to not draw my next card. I can accomplish that in multiple different ways. Let's Swamp Cycle. So I need white for Leyline Binding. That means I am getting Scrubland. Let's get Hedge Maze into play. Assuming my Scrubland doesn't get obliterated, like, I do want more spot removal conceptually. And hopefully, Up the Beanstalk starts making the Leyline Bindings cantrip. Basic Island. Sure. The opponent did that in a way where they can't fetch afterwards. Ooh. So no shuffle, but no play. Let's Up the Beanstalk around Daze. A really big deal for this card to resolve. Nice. Force of Negation with nothing blue to pair with it. Uh-huh. Cool, cool, cool. So my trolls are also a liability here. Opponent's in the tank. They've got the 3rd land drop. They unfortunately have Reanimate. I don't have anything to pair with this. So that's happening. Hopefully my opponent doesn't hit well on this. Oh god, they hit well. It's not as bad as it could be. There's not actual Force of Will. But, like, there is just the capability of doing another graveyard combo from here. So if there is a second large creature such as Archon of Cruelty, I just 100% have to deal with that. Entomb, Animate Dead, Bowmaster, Underground Sea. Alright. You are 1 card late. I think we go to my opponent's turn now. I make them see if they want to use, like, Bowmaster on end step or whatever. Alright. The Bowmaster happens. I take 1. I think I am okay with Bowmastering their Bowmaster immediately. Like so. Then I think while Spell Pierce type effects are not on the table, we do this. I will get to draw my card. Opponent did not keep the days that they had previously. They could have another. They don't. I get Atraxa for my trouble. And I have a cantripping Force of Will or Entomb or Animate Dead. I have 3 cantripping cards in hand. I maybe can't deploy all of them in the same turn cycle, because I don't have access to white. Petty Theft on Leyline Binding. Absolutely not. Let's do this in the way that cantrips. Nice. Now, Entomb plus Reanimate can still happen here. Like, it is possible for my opponent to get an Archon of Cruelty. But then hopefully I would just Leyline Binding that and draw a card. Alright, you're just gonna Bowmaster the Bowmaster. Sure. That happens. Opponent holds this back because they are at 10 life. Let's not make this too much bigger. I don't know, maybe I need this extra card. This gets way bigger though. No. The extra card is real good. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I'll take out Bowmaster. Now, I would like to hit a blue card here. In fact, quite important that I do. Yeah, that's fine. Raw. Alright, we hit the blue card. Fantastic. So now we are in the mid game that we want to be in, where our 5 drops and aboves are just going and cantripping. The Force of Will that draws 2. Real hot. There is the Animate Dead. Here is my Force of Will. Hate that. So now Atraxa can find Force of Will. Atraxa does not find Force of Will. That's great. That's actually a pretty bad Atraxa. Thoughtseize is not the worst. Thoughtseize can take a Leyline Binding. There's also Reanimate. Oh. Going with Ponder as the sorcery instead. Oh, I see. A blue card is needed to pitch to Force of Will. Alright, so that Ponder is gone. There's Entomb, Troll, Delta. Just draw Force of Will blue card. Blue card? Not Force of Will. Well, that was a disaster. Now Archon of Cruelty happens. I think I'll get rid of Up the Beanstalk. I get hit for 3. Not in that bad of shape, but things could be better. Leyline Binding still cost 2, unfortunately. I can do some Lorien Revealed stuff to make them cost less, but I think I'm just going to try to rely on Up the Beanstalk draws here. Solitude is interesting. We get rid of Archon of Cruelty first. Now let's get white mana to cast a Leyline Binding. That's Tundra. Yeah, and I think I am into this. Rather than like pitch casting Solitude, I have the chance to spike a white card and just do it all again. Alright, I've made my land drop. I take 3 more, then hopefully we're stable. Stuff can happen though. Like, I don't care about my opponent hard casting the troll. More Brazen Borrowers would be annoying, but we've seen 2. That's presumably it. I'm at 8. 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can't Solitude plus Bowmasters. Alright. There's the troll. Ooh. I have a much more impressive turn if I pitch cast that. I think I'm gonna start here. I could draw like a white card that I don't need. Metamorphosis Fanatic is kind of nutty. But my Beanstalk kind of ruins it. Awkward. I will put that back in deck. I think at this point I will fetch. I want the Xander's Lounge. No. I want Mystic Sanctuary. Mystic Sanctuary puts Prismatic Ending on top. Now I'm going to pitch cast Solitude. That'll draw Prismatic Ending for this orc. Get out Solitude. Now Prismatic Ending on you. And I pass the turn with double Bowmaster available and Force of Negation available. Alright. Yeah, that can resolve. I will ponder my way to some answer for that. I think I am fine putting one of these into play, but I hold the other one for Brazen Borrower purposes. Prismatic Ending. That's not what we're looking for to answer Troll. Ponder. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That does not actually answer it. I can take Lorien Revealed and draw 5 cards, 3 of which I can see, 2 of which I can see here. And that is 3 looks at Swords to Plowshares and Solitude type cards. That is probably better than the average shuffle. It is slightly awkward. We do this leaving white available. We draw through the 2 cards we know. 3 looks at an answer to Troll. Hit. Please don't daze me. No daze. Alright, fantastic. And in for 2. Opponent's at 20. I don't really want to Force of Negation. Just another one. Okay. I don't actually have good ways to answer this one. Let's find a good way to answer this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I can just cast Metamorphosis Fanatic, which sounds great. So I am going to start by swordsing this. And then Metamorphosis Fanatic. 2 triggers. Now I am going to take a troll with lifelink, and my opponent finally taps out. Wow, what a slog. We had some things break right for us there. I'm into these. They're going to get real big. Lifelink is meaningful. I probably play all 4 of these. Like, my opponent's just reanimating, even just trolls is kind of scary. I think I'm getting rid of Wrath of the Skies. It doesn't answer trolls. It does answer Animate Dead. I think I'm keeping Ending since it answers Animate Dead and Tameo. I think I'm getting rid of Force of Negations. The Surgicals and Ghost Vacuums answer the same sort of things that those would. And we bring in these Goyfs to round out the deck. I'm going to think for a minute if I would like Force of Negation more than anything else that's here. Like, my own trolls are a little bit of a liability. I could board those out and keep forces, but at that point my Metamorphosis Fanatics are also not great. And I think conceptually I really do like the idea of the endgame Metamorphosis Fanatic just bringing back the Solitudes that I pitch cast in the early game. I don't think this is interactive enough. This I'll keep. I think it is very awkward. I'm going to get rid of Troll. Don't think I can put a creature in the graveyard right now with the current resources that I have to fight. Scalding Tarn. I think I Force of Will a Tameo. Thoughtseize happens instead. That's resolving. I think the Yorion Revealed is the best card in my hand, although I can see arguments for Up the Beanstalk as well. Opponent agrees. Just keeping me off of that second land drop so I never get to deploy these is really strong. I think I'm going to pass. I could brainstorm on my own turn so that Bowmaster is less of a thing. I think I would just like to hold this brainstorm. Oh, do you not have another land? Interesting. Okay. I think I surveil land. That is not what I wanted. I will take that. I'm going to say no to that. I am okay force pitching force there. I think I need my brainstorm. Yeah, that's fine. I think this game is very likely to break my opponent's way quickly. I think I do this. You try to hit surgical extraction immediately. That is not surgical extraction immediately. Okay. So they almost certainly have reanimate if they were willing to keep this hand. Now, I can Solitude this right here, and there's a higher chance of it resolving, or I can wait to my turn and try to Up the Beanstalk it, which is what I'm going to do. God damn it, Harbinger of the Seas too. That's rough. We are now 4 for 4 on decks that have the ability to instantly obliterate my mana base. Sea, Ponder, Daze, Harbinger. Alright, so we try to high roll by waiting on the Solitude. We'll see if it pays off. We redraw the Bowmaster that we know about, and we attempt to answer Atraxa. Double Daze gets us, Force of Will gets us. Yeah, no, you get to Entomb. Ponder. So I now want to hit Surgical. No, Surgical doesn't matter because of fucking Daze. Rough. Yes. The Ponder goes, as it is the castable card. Yeah. Now I lose my other card. Opponent goes back to a life total where Reanimate is back online again. You're castable. Oh, but my opponent fucking has Daze. I mean, I cast it now because it draws me a card now and I could have a chance to hit another land drop. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just discarding it to an Archon trigger. I do hit the land drop. I have 2 colors towards beating Harbinger of the Seas. But I think I am likely just dead to this Archon. My top deck has to answer it, or I'm dead. That makes it much harder for me to stay alive. I don't have Supreme Verdict style stuff. Alright, that'll do. Oh, we have to go to a game 3. It's not over. We get to try again. Do I need more stuff to get me out of the early game? Like, do I need to drop Glarb? Maybe I need a few more counterspells to get myself out of the early game. Alright, we have a reasonable plan versus fair stuff like Tameo and Bowmasters, and no plan for the reanimation stuff. I don't think I can ever throw this hand back, though. So this Misty Rainforest needs to get me my green. I think there's a Naya land that we can pick up. I think that's what, like, the Jetmir's Garden is. Oh, opponent is just going to discard to avoid a counterspell. Sure. Does that change my mind? Do I just want a Hedge Maze then? I think I just want a Hedge Maze then. I would like looks at graveyard hates or counterspells here. Nope. I get 1 redraw here with Up the Beanstalk. Nice. I'd prefer Force of Will because it cantrips, but this is a beggars can't be choosers situation. Gives us a shot of getting out of the early game. Underground Sea. And Ponder. Fantastic. Ponder does not shuffle. Nice. Very, very happy with that pickup. Vacuum. Alright, it's in play. That is fantastic. I have Force of Negation and Bowmasters available. And note that Ghost Vacuum putting in a 1/1 Atraxa is pretty close to a win condition. Second land. Alright, opponent's just passing. That's great. Vacuum Atraxa. I am not interested in doing anything else with my mana here. I think in respect of Harbinger of the Seas, I'm just going to cycle Yorion Revealed and get a basic island. It makes some of my other resources worse. I don't think I care. Let's see what my opponent does. It feels like it's Orcish Bowmasters. No. Just a straight up fetch. Harbinger? Yeah, so I have Prismatic Ending to eventually answer that. Yeah, I think that's pretty answerable. I think I'm going to put Bowmaster into play now. Yeah. I'll vacuum a Ponder. My Leyline bindings are going to be expensive. Am I pondering? Is that fine? With Ghost Vacuum in play, that seems fine. I don't think I have to have Force of Negation available. Force of Will cantrips? Yorion Revealed coming afterwards is fine. Sure. Lanes, and we can put Yorion into hand. Still playing around days. Last turn. Another basic island. That gets a Force of Will. Pitching Force of Negation, I think. Alright, fantastic. Now this can't attack. You vacuum that out. I just play Yorion Revealed. My opponent does not have Bowmasters up right now. So this, at minimum, cantrips. And could just refill my whole hand. Ooh, that's great. I don't think I need to take that game action immediately, though. My opponent might have some lines where black is helpful for them. But I think now I just need to not time out. And I guess also not lose to, like, Brazen Borrower on Ghost Vacuum, reanimate a giant thing. That's a trap somehow. I'll take 2. I don't know how it's a trap, but it's a trap. I think I use a Solitude now. I draw my card. Take out the Harbinger. Lands are lands again. A Ghost Vacuum, a Delta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is just active. Just play tapped land past the turn. This only has a sorcery. Ooh, this is only has a sorcery. Let's still just pass the turn. It is Petty Theft on Ghost Vacuum. Yes. Tomb is fine. Unfortunately, we're in a situation where we're answering the creature rather than... Oh, cool, it's Archon. Oh, right, because we already got Atraxa. Yeah, Archon is, like, not a big deal. I have 2 different answers to it and can cast both. That's fine. Yes, that's fine. But I respond to that one. I'm going to do it before you draw that extra card. Yeah. Got a Bowmaster. You're going to brainstorm here. That's fine. Force of Will. Pitching Days. Sure. Draw this card. Surgical Extraction. Cool. I just Murderous Cut the Archon. I'm going to take my creatures out of graveyard. I'm going to leave Yorion Revealed in there. Oh. Swamp Cycle is fine. So, sacrifice this creature. I think I discard my Yorion. Do I have black? Yes, I do. Yeah, I think I discard my Yorion. That's fine. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's play around days. Just cast Metamorphosis Fanatic. Draw a card. Leyline Binding is great. Let's bring back Yorion. Blink Metamorphosis Fanatic. And Up the Beanstalk. Done. Cast Ghost Vacuum. Pass turn. Draw a card. Multiple Leyline Bindings. Excellent. So this is enough power to turn the corner pretty quickly, and I have 2 different things covering the graveyard and multiple removal spells. I think we've got it. Land drop. Vacuum out the Archon. I think just for raw mana efficiency, I'm just going to cast this now. Nice. Okay, 2 minutes left on the clock. We finally put a win on the board after a really rough start. Alright, our opening hand is a little bit clunky. Shadowy Backstreet Energy, maybe? 60-card black-white D&T deck could be possible. My mana requirements are insane in this hand. I don't think I get to fetch basic island to play around an opposing wasteland. I think I am just pondering and looking for additional lands, and that's additional land. So we are good with that. We can have a cost reduction of 4 on Leyline Binding next turn, so a hard-castable Leyline Binding is on the table. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna play my land and pass. Feels like Bowmasters if they're not willing to wasteland me. Yeah, and I will probably just Leyline Binding that. I think I'm just going to do it at sorcery speed. Well, I guess instant speed on my own turn. Opponent could be playing some bullshit like Ephemerate that I just really don't want to deal with right now. So next land drop. You got it. I don't really care about any one particular card here. I think the Leyline Binding is probably the best card in my hand, followed shortly thereafter by Lorien Revealed. Alright, they took a little while and thought it through and did end up taking the Leyline Binding that I had identified as my best card. I lose the Tundra, which might actually be the wrong land to take, because I can probably replace another Tundra very easily, and I probably can't replace a Bayou very easily. I think I am going to set up for the future here. So let's Tundra Brainstorm while Bowmasters is not up. I am not interested in Force of Will. The other things are tougher. I think I want the extra lands. They matter for Uro. So I am debating Glarb and second Solitude. Glarb gets in the way of me doing Uro stuff, which is what I want to be doing. Glarb's a decent blocker. I don't know when I Glarb. And I think I want to Lorien Revealed shuffle this turn, so it's not like I'm just going to set up Glarb. I think I'm going to get rid of second Solitude and keep Glarb. Intention of Lorien Revealed shuffle once I have a better feel for what land I need to pick up. And hopefully I don't randomly get got by Opposition Agent for waiting. Basic Swamp. Nice looking swamp. Take one. I will Island Cycle. God damn it. Yep. That's what I get for keeping Glarb. Alright. Bonus fetch land, not the best. Black, blue, green. We Glarb. Don't get to make this bonus land drop. I don't have anything that gives me a bonus land drop. It just lets me cast lands, but I'm super happy to draw that, because that means that I can play Uro and then bring back Uro successfully. And if opponent has some sort of Swords to Plowshares type card, it might hit Glarb rather than my more valuable things that are coming up. Oh, opponent's Bug. No. Oh, no. Sorry, that's mine. That's mine. That would be 4-color, not Bug. Alright, big plays coming. Sure. So, opponent has Bowmaster, if they want to use a Dark Ritual there and not just cast their thing. I will just play this land. That is castable off the top. That's very awkward. Very awkward. Okay. Let's pivot a little bit. Put the Yorion into hand this turn. And pass. I'm going to assume that I have massive inevitability over this deck if I just don't die. Yeah. So I'm going to Force of Will that. I think I need to pitch my Uro. I will get rid of this card via Surveil, but I need this to be a blocker for a little while. Annoying. That occurs. I wonder if these are value reanimates, or if my opponent has an Entomb package. Alright, it's just Unstoppable Slasher. I'm currently thinking about whether or not I can just take this hit. I want to exile that creature, because otherwise it comes back. Which way does this round? Round up, okay. I think I'm going to Surveil and make my plan and then decide whether or not I'm Solituding. Force of Negation goes away. Mystic Sanctuary goes away. Brainstorm on top. I need this stop. I take this hit. I Solitude this creature, and then Yorion Solitude Opposition Agent. I think I'm okay with that. I think I just need to use my life total as a resource here. I don't want this Brainstorm, but I think I need to keep Glarb untapped. So I will draw this. Ooh, shit. That's real good. The Glarb sure do be Glarbin, though. Now I don't even care if I block with a Solitude to further clear the board. Now there's a pretty decent chance that I just have an impressive Solitude turn. The opponent's got a castable spell, because they started to pay for it. So I think my opponent is mono black, and the Shadowy Backstreet is just a support land in the mana base. It looks like they have one. Ooh. Yeah. So I think I want to just remove that, so my opponent can't make a hasty troll. Yeah. That seems like a problem. Ooh, shit. Nice. So, Solitude Emperor of Bones. Now, I would love my Solitude to die in this combat step. Yeah, I think I just let it die and make the trade here. So the Unstoppable Slasher will come back later. got some stun counters on it. Or rather, it comes back now, but has stun counters on it. So then we will Miracle Metamorphosis Fanatic. I will cast that. I will return Solitude. Solitude takes out Bowmaster. I will Brainstorm. Force of Will seems fine. All these cards are fine. I think I'm going to put Force of Will on top of my deck to Glarb it. And if I don't need it, I Surveil it away. So yeah. Is this for pitch casting Solitude? Probably for pitch casting Solitude in case of an emergency. That is a Reanimate. I will just say no to that. This is basically free Glarb value. So yeah. Opponent doesn't have good attacks. We will Glarb. Let's just get deeper into the deck here. Actually, I'll keep that land. It's about to be good. Bowmasters is whatever. Do I have another Solitude in graveyard? Not yet. I don't think I'm going that route. I think we are just going to hardcast Solitude, take out Opposition Agent, fetch. Okay, opponent is willing to say GG there. Yeah, at this point I have 7 points of lifelink, 9 points of attacking power. We just needed to weather that storm, which was a little tough to do, admittedly. Goyf is fine. These things are fine. My opponent's stuff is largely creature-based outside of the reanimates. I think I am okay getting rid of Force of Negations. I think I will probably keep Force of Will. How is Wrath of the Skies? It's a little expensive for what it does. It is a card that I can top deck that just says no to everything. Wrath of the Skies might be slow. So assuming my opponent is doing 2 drops that I want to get rid of, that's 4 mana. But it answers all the 2 drops at the same time. It has collateral damage with Up the Beanstalk. I feel like I need the Surgicals. I don't yet know whether or not my opponent has unfair Entomb stuff. I didn't see any. But even just Emperor of Bones, Hasty Troll is a problem. And if I've tapped out for something, I think I need that. I'm going to get rid of Wrath of the Skies. Play Surgical. Again, I think I have massive inevitability over this deck, so I need to just not die. If I end up seeing something like the One Ring that is a real source of prolonged card advantage that's not attached to a creature, I might need some more copies of Force of Negation. I think I'm going to keep this hand and figure stuff out along the way. I have some potential problems with the hand. The scariest things are like Dark Ritual-based starts here. I think I am playing Ghost Vacuum immediately off of a fetch land. I think I just want to fetch some white mana before Opposition Agent happens. I might even just get the basic here, because then I have basic island, basic plains as a start for this game. It makes my cantrips next turn more awkward if I do that, but then I never get wastelanded off of my 2 primary colors. That feels important. See if this is just a Surveil land. It is. Go for the Throat. My opponent's probably in a very awkward spot where they have to keep in spot removal for the stuff that I have access to, but the spot removal is, like, not good for the vast majority of the game. So this is great. So my opponent made no proactive plays on turn 1 or turn 2. Like, I am very happy with this overall. I think I go ahead and Brainstorm here, while Bowmaster is probably not up. Mystic Sanctuary goes back into the deck. I kind of need the fetched land. I sort of want to play around Opposition Agent. Now let's try to naturally play around Opposition Agent as much as possible. This needs to be a black source. So Xander's Lounge is conceptually very good, but I think I probably need an untapped black source to Bowmaster or Murderous Cut in the next turn cycle. So I'm going to pick up Underground Sea and pass turn. It is currently a little bit unclear to me why my opponent kept their opening hand, but my Ghost Vacuum may be shutting off the things that make their hand good. Might be a turn cycle to just get another land in while I know it is safe. I don't think I need to do that with Murderous Cut here, though. Do I want to bait the Bowmaster? I'm okay baiting the Bowmaster. All right, there it is. You ping me. I ping your Bowmaster. I end up with the better board presence and the ability to resolve my cantrip. Metamorphosis Fanatic, just as a raw 4/4, lifelinker is not actually bad. I think I'm going to set that up. And if my Bowmaster gets Bowmastered or my Bowmaster blocks an Orc army token, oops, all according to plan. Yep. And an Emperor of Bones. Yep. We will vacuum out that Orcish Bowmasters. Then I will Miracle, like so. Are you surgicaling me? Would I like my opponent to remove all of the copies of Orcish Bowmasters from my deck? A card that I don't particularly want to draw. I can stop it, but I'm just going to let them. I do not know why my opponent is playing Surgical. Are you that bad versus Uro that you have to? Maybe they're that bad versus Uro that they have to. Or maybe the Metamorphosis Fanatic stuff was just traumatizing. Like, the problem with that is that, like, a 4/4 lifelinker is still good versus my opponent's deck. I think I ponder into fetch land most of the time here. Metamorphosis Fanatic to hand? Am I safe enough to do that? I don't feel safe enough to do that. Let's shuffle this. Well, I am just going to fetch while Opposition Agent is not a concern. So I would like black. Does this contribute anything to Uro? No. What about this one? This is not black, but contributes to Uro and makes binding better. I guess I have 2 lands that contribute to Uro. I'll get the Garden, and I'll pass here. Probably need to speed up my play just a tiny bit. Goldred's Edict. Sure. I lose my Metamorphosis Fanatic. My opponent can attempt to exile that, in which case I Ghost Vacuum it instead. I'll take a tiny bit of damage here. Not really that big of a deal. I just have Emperor of Bones covered. Let's Uro first in case I draw something else that I want to do. I almost certainly am murderous cutting Emperor of Bones. I'll hedge maze while I do this. Prismatic Ending is fine. I will sacrifice. Cut Emperor of Bones. Leaving a little bit of stuff in the... Oh, shit, I can play another land drop. Hit you for 1. Tundra, pass. Marsh Flats. That's annoying. Opponent will attempt to exile my Uro. I will put it under the vacuum. So I get Uro, Metamorphosis Fanatic, Orcish Bowmasters, and Troll with Ghost Vacuum. 1/1 versions of them. This is 3, 6, 7 mana. I don't quite get rid of Emperor of Bones. I have a Surgical Extraction if things get a little weird. But I can just get more Ghost Vacuum value by waiting a turn. So let's just get rid of Emperor of Bones and put Yorion to hand. Send it. So now I can also vacuum another Emperor of Bones. And then we probably end up popping the Ghost Vacuum. It's just very good inevitability here. Oh, okay, yeah. Slightly awkward. I think not a real problem, though. Like, I just pop the Ghost Vacuum and take all of the value, and then my opponent can kill the tokens. Like, I'm good with that. No? No. Send in for 1. We're just going to do this damage before the Ghost Vacuum stuff happens. So sacrifice. Probably leaving up Tundra. Now let's leave up Underground Sea. So I can pay Surgical Extraction without life. Sick. Oh wait, are these not tokens? Are these the real fucking cards? Sweet. I had it in my mind that these were token copies. Guess how few times I've actually successfully activated Ghost Vacuum in Legacy. You may charge. You may wasteland me. Slasher is fine. Force of Will's fantastic. I think we're probably at the point where I just start clicking on my cards and I don't really care. Be very careful anymore. We'll remove the Slasher. I'll remove some random card from Graveyard. I don't think I'm going to adapt Emperor of Bones. The counter is not really meaningful. My opponent cracks Ratchet Bomb on 2. They can have it. I just don't care about the creatures. You can have that. I'm just so not in a hurry here. I guess I can do it this way. Snuff out. Sure. Flying. Oh wait, there's Ratchet Bomb. I'm just going to say that that's fine. Because I just blank Metamorphosis Fanatic instead. So we blink Metamorphosis Fanatic. I go to combat. Oh, I can also just do this. Sure, this is fine. Oh, I didn't blow that up there. That was actually a mistake on my part, because they can ratchet bomb with that on the stack, and I don't get to do this, and then I don't bring it back with Metamorphosis Fanatic. Ooh, that cancels out that ability. Sure. Alright, so I could have played that a little tighter. So Yorion trigger happens. Metamorphosis Fanatic. I target the Uro. I get an extra card draw out of it. Put a Delta into play. Sacrifice the Uro. Easily have lethal multiple different ways next turn. Not actually in any danger of timing out. Despite the clock being low. You can also just get into kind of cool Metamorphosis Fanatic loops where I block with one, bring it back with the other. I think I'll just get rid of this one though. Alright, no attack there. I'll fetch. I don't even need to Mystic Sanctuary. Force of Will just means that this one is over. So send in with this. Send in with this. I guess this is an okay send in too. Yep. So that's my opponent's last card. So this is deterministic lethal. All right, and we redeem this league a bit after a very, very rough start. All right, overall thoughts on the deck list. Glarb did Glarb things a couple of times towards the tail end of the league when games were slow, and honestly, when I was already doing pretty well. I feel like Glarb is pretty fragile, and I don't know that Metamorphosis Fanatic bringing it back is enough of a reason to want to play Glarb in Legacy. Like, it's Karakasable, Fatal Pushable, Go for the Throatable, Shoot the Sheriffable, Sword, Solitude, Leyline Binding, Fury. It dodges Lightning Bolt and non-Delirium Unholy Heat, but generally speaking, it dies to most removal. So as far as Glarb specifically goes, I don't know that the support is there. The 2/4 Death Touch body was not bad, but, I think this is the bar at 3 mana that we should be comparing it to. And while this occasionally will get some immediate value by ripping a Solitude or Force of Will off the top, I think just playing a couple of these just puts us in a much better place overall. And bringing these back with Metamorphosis Fanatic is certainly some shit. As far as the rest of the main deck construction goes, Wrath of the Skies is a very reasonable card. I'm not sure that it belongs in the main deck. It's not hitting some things that I was coming across effectively. It gives you outs to new things, but this is slow in our deck that's already kind of slow. I think without additional support for this in like extra energy with the 1 mana blue cantrip that just adds some energy or something like that, I don't know that it's good enough to want in the main deck. We could Supreme Verdict. The cards are different. I felt like I wanted the extra copies of Swords to Plowshares pretty badly throughout the league. Again, because like Prismatic Ending is not hitting Troll. Wrath is probably not hitting Troll. I would want the 4th Swords. The extra creatures were nice for Metamorphosis Fanatic, and Metamorphosis Fanatic saved my bacon a couple of times. I am sure there are mana-based problems, but I don't play a lot of Yorion blue deck lists to get more specific than that. I'm not sure that we actually want the basic swamp. Like, I called it out a couple of times as, like, this would be really good in this situation. But, we have... If there is a Blood Moon or whatever in play already, there are already some other problems. And I don't know that basic swamp saves that, versus, like, basic swamp not being a blue to hardcast a Force of Negation, not being a white for double white of Solitude. So there's probably room to adjust the mana base a little bit more. I feel like this deck is a good legacy deck after about turn 5. And I felt like in the early game, with many of my hands, I just did not have enough agency to stop the things that were coming down and threatening me super early. Stuff that was in the sideboard was fine. Ghost Vacuum was quite good. Deafening Silence did some work. As far as Enchantress goes, versus Enchantress, Wrath of the Skies was something that mattered a whole lot. So overall, I give the deck shaky sideways hand. Or, being a Glarb's Bean deck, this is probably a good starting point, but I think it needs some tuning. And more generally, let's just go to this screen now. More generally, I think Control is in a pretty bad place in Legacy. There's a lot of Wasteland running around if you're trying to be a multicolor Control deck list. So, like, this whole Leyline Binding thing that we're doing is getting disrupted by a ton of Wastelands, especially off Sowing Mycospawn. I am not sure that I like Moon Stumpy in this particular metagame, but there's a decent amount of it in challenges because it is something that gets free wins versus Eldrazi, which is pretty popular. And people are playing Harbinger of the Seas out of the sideboard because Eldrazi is popular. So it felt like my mana base was just getting bullied today. If Eldrazi is a major part of the metagame, because that deck didn't really get touched by the ban waves, then like maybe you can't be playing a multicolor beans deck list, and if you want to play control, maybe you have to be like a tighter, like 2 to 3 color build. But I don't know that I would recommend control decks right now. I might recommend just trying to win the game before turn 10. With that, folks, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and if you need some cards, you know where to go. Promo code ThrabenU saves you a little bit on your order. I'm gonna go get some lunch. See ya!